Okay, Britt Aguirre, welcome to Left Out Loud. It's so nice to have you here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Britt, you were running for Congress in West Virginia.
Right.
Your primary was May 12th, I believe. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So, sadly, you did not win your primary. However, I really wanted to have you on here because you're still doing amazing things. And I also want the issues that you were fighting for West Virginia to be heard, regardless of whether or not you got an office this time around. And we're going to hope that you get in there next time if you decide to run again. Um, let's start off with just kind of your experience of campaigning. Was this your first time running for Congress?
Yes.
And what was that like? Like, what are the lessons learned? Do you have any insight into why you didn't win the primary or what you would do differently next time?
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. And I'm going to start off with it's a week after today. Today makes 1 week, and I feel like I've been beat with a baseball bat.
Yeah,
I do.
I
My
bet.
body it's taken a toll on my body. And I actually I had to call off work because my back went out. It's just like all of
Oh
a
no.
sudden, yeah, it's just like all of a sudden everything
Oh,
came in. And so I say all that because metaphorically, spiritually, figuratively, that's what happened. That
Yeah.
that is what happened is like, I was put through the ringer on my experience with all of this is on being online and going viral. People treat you, they don't know you, and people who
Yeah.
like you, but people who don't, cyberbullying is a thing. And
Yeah.
it's adults with fully functioning brains that they're supposedly have a fully formed brain, and they're using social media to attack and cyberbully as if they were in middle school.
So
So
talk to us about real quickly, just for context for the audience, talk about like when you kind of had that viral moment and what was the context of that and what was some of the backlash that you received?
sure. So I was shared actually Rogue DNC. So
Hmm.
ROGUE, if you're familiar with them. Okay, just making
Yep.
sure. They made a graphic of me and was basically just advertising my campaign. I did not have any clue. I had no clue. I was just following them, and I see my face on their site. And I'm
Wild.
like, oh my God. And that's the moment that I went viral, and thousands of not shares, excuse me, thousands of likes and reactions, hundreds of shares from my page. And then I shared it, and then they shared it. So everybody was sharing it. And that's really what happened. And you'll hear all the things. People just throw the R word around, people who don't like you. And that's
Hmm.
unacceptable, first of all. We're in 2026.
Yep.
They would call.
yeah.
I've been called Miss Piggy. I've been called a. Are you ready for this one? A progressive Erica Kirk.
Oh my God.
I don't know how to bounce
What?
back from that one. Yeah,
What
I
that
don't know.
isn't even a that like that
Makes
doesn't
no
even make sense.
sense.
So I don't know. I don't know. But that's my favorite one so
Real.
far. Um, as far as I can't really remember anything else. People have said some, misogynistic comments,
Sure.
and that the backlash is people just wanted to bring me down. Like they
Yeah.
didn't like what I was doing. And like I said, fully functional adults is what it appeared to be, especially because I know some of them in Logan, like, who have children. And it's like, you're setting an example of cyberbullying to your kids.
Yeah.
And that's who's raising our next generation is these people, people who are not media literate, and they don't know how to use socials. And I say that because hurt people.
Yeah.
And that's and that's
100%.
how and that's how I'm trying to frame it. And like, there's this one comment, and I'll we can sure pivot or whatever. You can ask another follow up question, but there was one comment, and it's just, things sticks and stones may break my bones, but words are there forever. And so this one comment said, you have 0% of winning, or excuse me, a
Mhm.
0% chance of winning. And now that I've lost, I have to, like, I'm having to overcome that comment. And it doesn't, like, it shouldn't take up space in my thoughts, because they don't, they're not paying rent to be there.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm having to heal from, is like, you know what? He said that, and sure, I didn't win. And also, like, it's okay. And he was just hurt. But my point is, like, that sticks with people.
Yeah.
I
And
And it's
so,
I am
and it's
so
and it's
sorry
yeah, I
that
mean,
you've
and
had
that's
to experience
ridiculous.
that.
As if every politician wins every single time. Many people have to lose before they get their first win. That's kind of how it goes. So again, just like the progressive Erica Kirk thing, like these people are
Crazy.
not good at insults. They may insult,
They're
they're certainly
terrible
not
at
good at it.
them.
You,
This is Donald
you know
Trump
Terrible.
what's
level insults.
another good insult or a terrible insult is they said West Virginia doesn't need another AOC. And I was like, that's the best insult I could ever think of, right? Like
I
so I
mean,
so,
yeah,
so I used the
take that.
hashtag another AOC. So
Oh, I
I'm just
love
gonna,
that.
you know,
I
so
love that.
so that's like, and as far as like reflecting on the campaign, I actually, let's see, I've been thinking about it. I actually wouldn't take back a single thing
Yeah.
as far as messaging, because there was a pivotal moment where I said, sorry, there's a car. I said, I'm going to own that I'm a progressive. And that
Yeah.
was when I published that or I put online, let's arrest the president. And I put it like a status, and it got shares after shares after shares. And that's the moment that I knew. I said, I'm going to step into my authentic voice, my authentic self. I'm going to own my progressiveness. And I took that chance. And online, it went, like I said, my opponent's funny. About 10 minutes ago, he walked through here and we had a conversation who won the primary because over there in the public library down across the street from, they were having a meeting because they're still campaigning and stuff. So I saw him earlier. And I just didn't care to take that chance to be progressive, to say, this is my authentic voice, my authentic self. And it got 47% of the vote, and I lost a little less than 3,000 votes. And that is a hell of a first time
That's
run.
amazing.
Yeah.
In West
It's so
Virginia,
close.
Thank you.
Brit,
It's
Thank
massive.
you.
Brit,
And
that's
so like
badass.
I wouldn't, thank you, but I wouldn't change it. The only thing I would actually I really just I can't even think of one single thing that I would change, because I was precise in my messaging. I ran it through people. I apologized when I needed to. I made repairs. So but I will say that a winning campaign, and this is what I staunchly stand against. Okay, so I'm okay to say a winning campaign stays in the middle. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It is not full of conviction. It is full of people pleasing. It is not full of passion. It is full of complacency. That's a winning campaign, a Democratic campaign here. And I'm sorry, I'm not a complacent centrist or corporate Democrat. And that's just going to have to be okay. But this
It is
progressive,
okay. It's more than okay. I
this
mean, that's who you
Yeah.
progressive,
I
are.
mean, like, are
this
we going to sit here
progressive
and act like,
millennial, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, are people gonna sit here and act like Bernie Sanders' message was not heard and resonated across the country,
Right.
especially in rural areas? Are we supposed to not believe that a ton of Bernie voters went over to Trump?
Yep.
People that could have been reached, people like folks in West Virginia. And the question that I have for you is, just in my brief political experience, the thing that I know West Virginia the most for politically is Joe Manchin. And so, he was kind of like that kind of like guy in the gap for so long, and he kind of made his career off that towards the end. Do you feel like a lot of people are like Joe Manchin, where like they're Democrats, but like it's also like secretly Republican a little bit? How do you feel like about that? Do you feel like that's the most West Virginians, and do you think like you can kind of tap into that Democratic part of them? Clearly, you have.
Thank you for saying that, because and I've had several people message me and go, I proudly voted for you. And the big running joke now is people finally know who Vince George is. Jesus Christ, it took this long. And that's what people are so frustrated by. They go, who is this guy? And what happened was, I'm in the capital of West Virginia right now. And so what happened was he took his hometown, which is Kanawha County here. And that's really what happens. Like he took this one and like maybe one other big one, but every other one I either took or I split. But that's really what happens here. So let me pivot. Can you say what the first part of the question was?
Yeah. Just like, I talk about Joe Manchin. Like that's my experience with like a West Virginia politician. That's who comes to mind for me. And
So
so obviously a guy who's like Democrat by
Right.
party, but by principle, a little bit more Republican, I would say. And he kind of made his living like being in the gap and kind of playing that like both sides type deal. Do you feel like folks in West Virginia are kind of like that a little bit, where they've got a little bit of both in them, and you just got to tap into the progressive Democrat side of them?
So we call those guys blue MAGA.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
what we called them today in whatever chat I was in, and that how we have to overcome blue MAGA. And I don't remember, I can't remember exactly, because like what she had referenced earlier, like I am still in the community. That's what people are like, Britt, I'm so glad to see you here. I said, look, I haven't missed a beat, because I haven't, because this is Congress was because I was asked to run for Congress. You know, hold on one second. I see Reverend Brad Davis and Caitlin Ware. Hi.
We are keeping this all in, by the way.
I'm on a podcast. But I was like, look, hold on a second. I gotta say hi to these people. Bye, guys. They're the water advocates from below. They do a lot of water advocacy. So anyway, but I'm still in the community. I haven't missed a beat, because it wasn't ever about Congress.
Yeah.
It was about people had asked me to run, and I said, absolutely. And so I'm doing everything I can to overcome fascism and oligarchy and American imperialism, and that includes politics. But initially it was activism and advocacy. And so at the this legislature session, I did lobbying, volunteer. So I also included lobbying and then politics. So lobbying, politics right now is over, but activism and advocacy are still there.
And
so
that's evergreen. That's forever, right?
It is forever, because West Virginia, like again, like circling back to like the initial question of, we still don't have clean drinking water. We still have crumbling infrastructure. They are bringing data centers, and they're talking about yesterday, the lobbyists hosted a dinner trying to persuade us that data centers are good. And they said, we're going to fix the infrastructure for the data centers. Oh, so you're going to fix them for the corporations who said they need it, but not the people who have been begging you for years, decades. And that's just unacceptable. And so we are currently planning, that's what I mean. They just needed me still here on the ground. We're currently planning more rallies, more protests. Matter of fact, 2 protests I had scheduled the last 2 weeks, they canceled the meeting that we were going to protest, because we've had it scheduled and hundreds of people were about to show up. So these corporations, American Electric Power, I believe it's called here, or Appalachian Power, whichever branch it is, they're running from us. They are running. They're canceling their meetings. They're trying to figure out how to have these meetings at 1 p.m. on a Monday where working class people are there. But guess what? Let me tell you this. Our people are taking off work. So they can keep trying, but we know what it's like. We're going to get babysitters for our kids. We're going to bring our kids. We're going to do what we can and take off work. They are not going to hide anymore. I know I get a little riled up, but that's just my experience.
No,
like
Britt, I
said,
love that about you. I mean, that's why I knew win or lose, because we both knew that this was scheduled for after your primary. I knew I had to have you on here because you're a firecracker. I love that about you.
Well, I appreciate that. People say that they describe me as a raw grassroots advocate who is very coachable. And that's exactly me. That is exactly me. So I'm very coachable. I take constructive criticism very well. And I just want to be better. I want to be, but my only competition, it wasn't Vince George. My competition was me the day before. And that's where I stay. So
So about the data centers, right? I feel like, especially me being from rural Alabama, they are targeting AI, and these data centers are targeting rural communities, specifically communities in the South who are more susceptible to all that money that gets waved in their face. These promises, we'll fix the infrastructure. Well, thank you so much for fixing something that you'll use every day, and that the taxpayers will pay to keep up at the end of the day. So, thanks for the favor. Do me a favor. Don't do me no favors. Yeah. And so, talk about that a little bit, because people in rural communities all over America need to understand they're targeting us because they think we won't notice.
They think we won't notice, and they think that we are uneducated. And they think that we're too sick. That's the plan. They want to keep us sick, in bed. They want to keep us chronically ill. They want to keep us complacent and in division with each other and our families. And that's why, the Republican Party has the messaging that they do with culture war issues. And it's just like, like I say, I haven't seen a trans person or an immigrant cause any of these problems. I really haven't. And I say that because they are targeting us, and the West Virginia legislature in particular. They are doing all the persuasion tactics you can think of. And they have literally, I have a video of one of the delegates debunking myths. So they are making it like they come in there and they sat in this lobbyist panel and sat there and like just kept talking and taking up for these corporations. I didn't hear not one mention of the people. I did not hear they want to lick the boots, so they need some shoe shine for their tongue. Okay, that's what they need. That's going to get it on it. They need a napkin. They need to wipe it off. And I say that because they care more about the corporations, the lining their pockets, than they do about every single one of us who are dissenting against this. So they are taking advantage of it. They're exploiting us. But I'm going to tell you, Appalachia's history, and I'm sure Alabama too. I don't know much of their history, but our history, we have been exploited from day one with the mining conditions. You know, my great grandfather, he died young of a heart attack induced by black lung. He was there before we had labor unions. He was there before, like, unsafe working conditions. Now, in 2026, down the road in Nitro, we had a chemical leak and it killed 2 people and 30 were injured. We had another unsafe working condition down through here. This is the same things. And you see that with the unions being weakened. And it's not a conspiracy theory to say that was their plan. They want to weaken solidarity. And
that's in Project 2025, Britt. They can't deny it. It's in there.
But the future is the complete opposite of that. We're going to strengthen mutual solidarity across coalition, and our beef, like the drama in the community, it's not going to be there anymore because we have to put everything aside because it will be the people versus the corporations. And in West Virginia, my family knew what that was like. My Uncle Ed Chambers, that's what he and Sid Hatfield, they took on the establishment at the time, right? They took on the company store. They took on the people who are oppressing us. And West Virginia, we fight. And I'm not saying that's pretty. Look, it's not pretty. My Uncle Ed Chambers died. His wife cradled his head on the courthouse steps in Welch, West Virginia. He died. There's going to be casualties when we lose all these health insurance. And I'm not saying incited by protesters. I'm talking about we're losing our health insurance, Medicaid. People are going to, I was meeting with somebody today. That's what I mean. I've got so many calls and there are projections about how many people are going to be underinsured or uninsured and how we're going to reach them. And that's going to be my role, is how do we build the safety net that they cut off? And so that's my response to that is we have always been exploited, and Appalachians, we're against exploitation, and this exploitation problem has been wrapped up in a big red Republican bow and with a bunch of promises that they're going to save coal when it's a non-renewable resource. Coal is a non-renewable resource. I learned that in second grade. And once it's gone, it takes millions of years to form. So it's like they just want to keep doing what we've been doing, but the earth is crying out and saying, like, that's not it. There's other ways forward. And so it's just, they say it's anti-American, and it's just they have twisted the narrative of patriotism to actually reflect white supremacy. Like they want, that's what they say patriotism is, and white supremacy is something of the past. I mean, it's definitely present, but it's we rebuke that. We can staunchly stand against that, and so that's what it's been wrapped up in. And I just think a lot of people up here are unfortunately white supremacists. And or racist, and then you can be, but if you're both, usually, and that's unfortunate. So I say all that, and that's a lot of words, but that is where we are, and I'm needed on the ground. So that's what we're doing. We're planning a lot of protests and civil disobedience. I will say that here. We are planning civil disobedience now that I can.
Yes.
Because that's the only way we're going to hear us.
So you talked about coal, and I want to go back to that real quick. You describe yourself as daughter of coal country, and we've heard Republican politicians for ever and ever and ever talking about bringing coal back. Do you feel like, and I don't live where you live, so I'm asking this as somebody that lives in the Northeast part of America, do you feel like West Virginia and coal are sort of a political football, and that you only hear from politicians, around election years, and then they just kind of disappear? Like, I know that's when I hear about bringing coal back. That's when I hear about West Virginia is during an election cycle, but then I never hear from them again. And I can't imagine what that is like for you. So can you talk a little bit about how West Virginia feels being brought into election conversations and then seemingly just ignored?
Well, when I was canvassing, I'll tell you what I was told. He said, if I vote for you and you get into politics and you switch to Republican, like all these Democrats have who came up and canvassed and knock on my door, he said, you are not welcome back on my property.
Mm.
That's how West Virginians feel, who true Democrat gems. And this man is a Christian. Like he was a Christ following Democrat, UMWA member, union. He ain't no scab is what he told me, you know. And he told me at the end of it that I had earned his vote. And the person I was with, we had earned his vote. We cried, we had church. We did. He was testifying about the Lord, and all of us were in tears at that point. And so that's the Democratic gems that we've mined out. You said a moment ago, like, is it still in there? Yes, but that's what he said. He said he's been so betrayed. All these turncoats, it's what we call them around here, turncoats who ran as a Democrat, then switched. Jim Justice being one of them, who's our current senator, and they're betrayed. Yeah. That's what it is. And so, yeah, I mean, there's something. I mean, if you go on my Facebook, somebody recently said, well, here we go. Politicians are back in their hiding now that they've won the primary. The only person I see is Britt and this other candidate who lost. And so people are very disillusioned with my loss because of how involved I was. And people like my supporters specifically are disillusioned is the word they were used. So, yeah, it's been used as a political football for a long, long time. And
did your opposition, were they able to outspend you? Did they get money from other sources? Like because I mean, people love you. So how did that come to be?
Thank you. Like how it came to be, like I said, was the voter turnout in Kanawha County. That's really what chalked it up, because it was like Kanawha County is like 2,000 and some votes. So that's really what happened. So it was like by itself, that's what happened. So are you ready for this one? My opposition is a retired policy analyst. Okay. And I take zero corporate money. I know you know that. And grassroots, fully grassroots, national donors, right?
Yep.
And my opposition took out a $250,000 loan to his campaign. And that is what he did. I don't know if he actually filed he didn't file his report.
Did he borrow like against his house or like some kind of real estate he had?
I can tell you. I'll tell you what I've learned and how I've learned it. So I can tell you that too. But I'm going to just say that I do not have $250,000. I'm a working class, working poor divorced woman trying to pull herself, been pulling myself up by my bootstraps for a long, long time. Especially now that, with a single income and whatnot that I've been doing. And so I don't have that. So the people here, their establishment rejected me, and they sent a Democrat who has that type of money. It was his 401k is what I heard.
Oh, okay.
But he did that for his campaign. So, that's not what I have. And I don't think it was outspending. I just, but I will say that he had a FEC complaint.
I don't really think you can borrow against your 401k to run for office.
So that might have been a lie.
If he has an FEC complaint, probably around the source of the funds that he's using for his campaign, I would imagine.
And he didn't file any reports. That's the thing. Is like we pressured him to file it, because that was one of the things we're saying is like, this guy hasn't filed anything. He hasn't disclosed anything. My opponent who won, he donated to an APAC candidate. I haven't heard that he'd received APAC funds, and he says he rejects them. But he himself from his campaign or whatever it was donated to a candidate that took APAC money, over $1 million, like 1.2. So like, and I was asked to sponsor that fundraiser, because are you ready for this? This is what the Democratic Party does in West Virginia. You ready? They ignore the candidates. Hold on. Okay. And then while they're ignoring us running, they host fundraisers for out-of-state candidates. And that's how I found that out, because I was invited to sponsor it, to donate. And I said, he took money from APAC. I can't do that. Yeah. So I went to that fundraiser, denied the privileges I would have gotten from sponsoring it. But I went there, and me and my friend asked the candidate what he was going to do about that APAC money. That's why I went, you know? So that's the person who beat me. And the establishment just is not ready to release its grip in West Virginia. And that's actually what I chalked it up to. And that's just going to have to be okay right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think,
Unfortunately.
and I think states like West Virginia and a lot of states in the South, like if folks knew better, they would do better. If they knew about these things, and people are becoming more cognizant of them, I would say, class consciousness is progressing. I mean, certainly even 2, 3, 4 years ago, I didn't realize the kind of grip that APAC had. I knew about Citizens United and I knew the corporations were doing it, but I didn't realize how much Israel was involved in our politics. They are doing contracts with separate states. They are the IDF is helping train ICE. You're just sitting there like this is mind blowing. So one of the things that last things I wanted to ask you about is you talk about education on your website, and so if I think education is the first thing to freeing our class consciousness. And I know that that's something that you want in West Virginia. What are your plans to kind of try to if you were to be elected, what is your vision for education, public education in West Virginia?
Yes, it's a dumpster fire right now. It's a dumpster fire. My kid has in his school 7 bomb threats in about 8 or 9 weeks.
Oh my
7.
God.
7. Not 1, not 2, 7. Okay. So I'm going to pause there. My vision for education system is we are introducing technology entirely too early, detrimentally too early. Our entire generation Alpha, which is after Generation Z, they are that's going to be unfortunately, it's going to be the test subjects for this new explosion of digital education without books, without pencil and paper. My kid doesn't need books. He doesn't need pencil and paper. He doesn't need school supplies. When I say, what do you need for school? Nothing. He doesn't. And
How are they learning to write?
So
I mean,
they don't know. They don't know how to read in cursive.
They're not.
They don't know how to write in cursive. They only read manuscript, and this is detrimental because the Constitution is written in cursive. Okay, so that's my vision: is analog. Bring it back to normal, and and in our education, our advocacy efforts need to start directly in the hospital when the person gives birth, because there's a whole generation, including this, like I said, my 12-year-old kid. The second kid I had, who's 3, I changed what I did with him because of my experience with my older son after reading some books. And one of the bigger things that people aren't aware of is that when you are feeding your infant child, mom, dad, parent, whatever, you have got to make eye contact. But parents are not. We're on our phones. I can promise you on everything that I promise you that with my first son, I did not make eye contact with him because I was on my phone. I just didn't know that. I'm a mom. I'm up at 6 a.m. feeding my kid, or 3 a.m. and I didn't know that. So we don't know that. We don't know that defect. And so when you don't have that eye contact with your baby and a whole generation is missing that, we're seeing skyrocketing levels of autism. They're not making eye contact very well in general, whether that's an diagnosis of autism or not, but I know eye contact is a problem with kids. We need to go to the hospitals, and we have to tell the moms that, hey, look, put your phone down and feed your kid. And I promise you, I believe that will solve a bunch of problems, and there's literature out there about that.
Yeah. All right. So, Britt, before we let you go, and I'm so glad that you came. I know that you've been through the ringer. I suspect the way that you're feeling physically right now is because you were going, 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 going. And the minute you stop, it's like a crash, like everything hits you all at once. So I appreciate the time, and I hope that you take the time that you need to heal and rest and sort of, revigorate yourself. But what I saw, not resting, Britt, what I saw was yesterday you posted about doing more community aid work. You're doing mutual aid and taking donations. It looks like you have a little makeshift center set up talk to us about that. I know you need donations. I know your community needs help. If we can help in any way by getting this out to people that would contribute, I want to do that. So tell us about that community work that you're doing right now.
Thank you for asking.
Mhm.
Yeah. So if you indulge me for a moment,
Yes.
the community work is, I've really focused on supplies. So I
Mhm.
have my bag right here of supplies for our folks who may need hygiene, who are on the streets, who carry their
Mhm.
things with them, don't have a house, whatever the notion is. So several bags, right? This is my second one. I have another one in there. I'm saying that because that's what I've been doing. This
Yeah.
is what I've been doing. So it's been about 2 years, and I serve like I said, the population that are without houses, people who are fall through the cracks, people who get out of jail and they get dropped off 4 hours later, and they stay around town in Logan County because they don't have anywhere to go, and they can't get their social security card, birth certificate, ID, and they literally are just surviving. Those are the
Yeah.
people, and that's a true story. And I'm not going to mention his name, but he actually has a electric scooter now, and
Oh,
I believe he has a
nice.
place to stay. So this is
That's
about two
great.
years he was on the street, and so finally, but 4 hours, I met him 4 hours after he was released from jail. You see what I mean? And so I followed him. I took him to the hospital. He had an injury or something, and he wasn't going. It was getting worse and stuff like that. So I continue this work today. When I talk to my folks who I see, and I never say I'm Britt and I ran for Congress. I say, "Hey, how are you? Are you
Yeah.
hungry? How are you feeling?" And I made connections and for folks and told them specifically for people who bleed. I have products for that, and so
Yeah.
that's my main. I call it my ministry. Is that you don't know what it's like to start your cycle
Mhm.
when you're on the street. You don't when you don't have
Yeah.
anything. Where do you go? Toilet paper is not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's not. And so that is my heart. That is where my heart is. And so I have all these supplies. I re-up. I not only get supplies and give them out, but I give supplies to give to other groups for them to give out. So I'm also a
Yeah.
supplier. So I'm also a direct
Like a
contact
hub.
as
Right.
well. So my place is we're going to continue this mutual aid, and we're
Mhm.
going to have it outside in the parking lot of the HQ. And so yes, I'm asking for a it is not affiliated with my campaign at all. So we need to
Yep.
make that clear. So it's called Appalachian Changemakers.
Okay.
By the way, that term, people are using it now. I love it. And I'm the one who started it because I heard it several years ago in the yoga space.
Okay.
And the person who taught me that term lives in New York.
Okay.
So I brought that term here. And so anyway, so people are using it now, and I love it. And I don't care. It's not mine. Just use it, So I love
Yeah.
that. But it's Appalachian Changemakers, and I'm going to serve people. So we're going to start off with a coffee bar, and then I'm invited some other people in the community to take root there. People walk to I don't know what y'all call it where you are, but it's called the DHHR, Department of Health and Human Resources.
Yep.
Okay, so that's here. I live right 150 feet from that, right?
Okay.
We have a bunch of land also that I rent from. They have a bunch of land in the back, and we're going to do community gardens. We're going to plant some pumpkins and harvest them in fall. So we're going to have like a summer event and then a harvesting event in the fall. And it's going to serve the community. It's going to serve the children, and we're going to teach our children how to use our resources and to center sustainability practices to help
Yep.
and we have to start with the children. So that's just my work and the people I serve and the women. I have a heart for prostitutes. I have a heart for sex workers, and I just want them to reduce the harm. And I have products to do that, help them do that. I have hygiene
Mhm.
products to make sure people smell nice. Like I said, you don't realize these luxuries such as
Yeah.
toothpaste, toothbrush, having teeth is a
Yeah.
luxury, and you have to
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
about that. So, like protein bars for my people, protein bars they cannot chew that. I would have never thought that. I bought a whole thing of protein bars, and my people said, I can't eat that. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
no. So I had to figure something out. But now I know because we have to ask those questions.
Right.
So we got, so I have some food that they can eat. But if you don't ask the questions, and if you come in there like a colonizer and say, I'm here to help, nobody wants
Yeah.
that. People
Yeah.
want to know that you actually care. And
Yeah.
and look, I sincerely actually care. And these are the people that when I see them, I see Jesus. Matthew 25, when you see the least of these, you see me. When you feed the least of these, you feed me. When you don't feed the least of these, you don't feed me.
Yeah.
And he said at the end, like, and I'm quoting scripture. I can't. I'm not a politician anymore. I can quote scripture if I want. He said in the end, y'all people who turn me away, I never knew you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I mean, I'm just glad that the one, that you take that approach, two, that you're continuing to stay involved in the community, because you lost by such a small margin.
Yeah.
You are so close. And
Yeah.
if you stay connected to your community, people are going to notice. Word's
Yes.
going to get around about you. And the next time around, you're going to be a threat. And
Absolutely.
so
You're not going to just be a threat.
I
You're
know
going to
you're
win.
tired, but
Yeah.
I know you're tired, but keep on going, because you're so close.
Do you have
Thank
a
you.
website for people to contribute to you, what you're doing, or a
Yes.
GoFundMe or anything like that? Can you tell us?
I have a GoFundMe, absolutely, and I have a
Okay.
Cash App if people would feel more comfortable on a Cash App. It's Appalachian Changemakers. I can send you that in an email. So when you post
Yeah,
this
and then
or
we'll
whatever,
put it in. We'll put the links in.
but I do have the GoFundMe ready. We have had a donation already, a single donation. Yeah. Hallelujah. But that's the thing, is like, this is not going to be just monetary, financial. Yeah. These supplies here that I have in here, this was free.
Yeah.
Free Narcan, free condoms, free soap, free everything. And that's what mutual aid's about. It doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be fiscal. These are resources. And that's what we have to reteach people, because of this unmoderated, unregulated capitalism that's turned into American imperialism. People think it's all about money.
Yeah.
And money, it does not determine our worth. It does not determine our self-esteem unless you let it. And
Our
so
value. Yeah.
exactly. Resources are just as valuable. And that's what we have to teach people, is that West Virginia is rich in resources. We have enough food to feed everybody. It's just not distributed properly and it's wasted. So this, my friends, is a culture change. And I've been in this culture change for a long time. I've been the black sheep in the tie-dye sheep in my family for a long time. And it's not weird. It's just before their time, like the populace.
Yeah.
It's before their time, and that's
Yeah.
okay. And that will end up in a losing campaign, but a winning message.
Yes.
So that's my thoughts, and I appreciate you asking, because this work, I'm just pouring myself into my children. I'm pouring myself into my work and what I've said from the beginning. Just watch and see. Just watch and see.
Absolutely. Well, Britta Aguirre, what a pleasure. You are amazing. I'm so inspired by you. I admire you so much for taking everything that you've been throughout this campaign, and you just keep on going. And I don't think you're ever going to stop. And I think we're going to be talking to you in a couple of years after you win that next race.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I appreciate y'all having me on here. This was an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Keep me in the loop. Let me know. Tag me and all that.
And same here. If you need anything from us, you let us know.
I sure will. Thanks
All
a bunch,
right.
y'all.
Thank you.
Got it.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Allie, that was a great interview that we just had with Britta Aguirre.
Really was.
Man, she was on fire. Even in a close loss, by the way.
Yeah.
She talked about, everything just kind of hits you like a wave once you're done with the election. There's so much energy that you spend, but here she is, continuing the fight, continuing to support the least of these in her community, and just a really inspiring individual to speak with. And I know that, if she just keeps on going and stays the course, she's going to be somebody who can make a difference for West Virginia.
She's so close. She came so close as somebody who was running for the first time as a, out loud progressive in West Virginia. And according to her, that's what West Virginians are kind of craving, because they're getting duped. They're being, they're maybe voting for Democrats, realizing that Republicans don't have their best interests at heart. And then the Democrats end up being really moderate or even farther right, more like Republicans in the way that they vote and the way that they legislate for their constituents. So crazy. I'm emotional still from talking to her. She was just so inspiring to me. I could tell that she is exhausted this process is exhausting. We don't really talk about that, but it's a huge sacrifice, especially as a progressive grassroots candidate. You're not running on, big budgets. You are having to put your body out there to do that work. You are on this, you're canvassing constantly. You're going to events, you're connecting with your community members. It's not like you can just produce really slick and stylistic ads and blast them everywhere for people to get to know you. If you're running grassroots, that's a luxury you can't afford. So, you know, just shout out. Today is primary day in 6 states. This is one of the biggest primary days across the country for 2026. Just shout out to all the progressives out there running, all the grassroots candidates that have put in all of that time and work. Obviously, we wish you would all win, but even for those who don't, we see you and we appreciate what you're doing so much.
Yeah, because I mean, this is the beginning.
Yeah.
This is not the end. This is the beginning of something. And you're gonna take some lumps in the beginning of anything. But so we'll continue to take our lumps as progressives, but we are making a mark. We are winning, and the momentum is just building for us. And so, and I believe also through people like Britt, I mean, we're relatable.
Yeah.
But we relate to people in West Virginia just like we relate to people in California. People are not that different, and our problems are not that different.
Right.
It's just it's just crazy gerrymandering, and stuff that's going on right now is insane. But when you talk to somebody like Britt, you're just sitting there like, there are still good people out there.
Yeah.
Who continue the fight, and I look forward to hearing from her again, just seeing where her political career takes her.
Yeah, I do too. And we'll put some information up if you guys want to donate towards all of that community outreach that she's doing. God bless her. I mean, that's tough work. And just so honorable. So I think that was our last interview for a few days. Gonna enjoy Memorial Day weekend without any more recordings. But next week, oh boy, we are every day and some days back to back. And that's great. This is a great problem to have. We're going to enjoy a little time off. Enjoy your Memorial Day. Seth and Lance, shout out to Lance, our producer, who's there silently recording us. But yeah, and then I can't wait to see what these primary results are all across the country. I got to check out Steve Kornacki at the big board with his khaki pants and see what's going on. Hopefully we'll see some blue waves happening today. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.